All right, Joseph, my first question for you, and this is not a new question or not a unique question to us. It's actually been referred to as the greatest question of metaphysics. If there is no God, why is there something rather than nothing?
Some answers to that question I've heard is that something is required rather than nothing. And that even nothingness is something insofar as anything at all.
Atheism doesn't make sense, like I said. Okay.
But even if I did not have that answer, even if I did not have that answer, I wouldn't say, well, I don't know why there's something, and I wouldn't say it must be God to make myself feel better about not knowing.
I'm surprised that you haven't mentioned it tonight, because I know that you, I think, put it on maybe Facebook, or you've at least mentioned it to several people on Facebook and even in person. This idea that you used to be a Christian. I hear you reference that a lot, that you used to be a Christian. So my question is whenever you used to be a Christian, does that mean that God came into your life and that you had a relationship with God and you had fellowship with Him?
No, it means I was raised in a Christian household to believe a certain way that was wrong.
Okay, because there's a very clear distinction between nominal Christians and authentic biblical Christians. In authentic biblical Christians, it's very clear that you receive the Holy Spirit, you have fellowship with God, and God is real in your life. And what Joseph is saying is, when he says I used to be a Christian, he's saying I was a Christian by name only, and because that's the way I was raised. It was a religion, an outward set of beliefs, not a relationship, an inward fellowship with God.
Well, no, I think you're painting it as if I wasn't really a believer, as if it didn't actually mean something to me. I was raised in that tradition by the sheerest of accidents, and it was a very significant part of my life. I don't think it can not be a significant part of your life if you're brought to Sunday school, Bible drills, Bible study, choir, mission trips, when you're working at a camp teaching other children about God. I said a lot of the same things that I hear Christians say. I know how they feel. But so I think that in this sense you're guilty of a no true Scotsman. That Joseph wasn't really a true Christian, because true Christians don't change their mind. Well, I was a true Christian insofar as I was not changing my mind then.
Yeah, it seems to me that what you're saying is that I was sincere in my belief in God, and just because you have a simple belief in God does not make you a Christian. A simple belief, you have a simple belief. In fact, the Bible even says the demons believe and they tremble, but that doesn't make them children of God. The key point about being a Christian is that you trust in, and it is a surrendering relationship too. I don't doubt your sincerity, but what I'm just saying is that you were sincerely wrong and that you weren't really a Christian according to the biblical standards. You were a nominal Christian.
It doesn't make the demons atheists either.
Maybe not. Yeah, I never said demons were atheists, but I need to ask this one in the form of a question and a follow-up question. The first question is just real easy. Do you believe that the universe is just comprised of only material things? I mean, because the atheistic position as a whole is that the material things, what we can observe, what we can measure, what we can quantify, these things that are proven by the scientific theory. And even tonight we've said there's no evidence of God because we can't prove Him with the scientific theory. So my question is that your position that we've got to be able to prove it?
In other words, am I a materialist?
Yeah,
insofar as I think that there is only one type of stuff, and that stuff is made of atoms, I don't know. My position on that is not absolutist. I've shed the need for any kind of absolutist. I think that theism is defined by this idiotic need for absolute belief. I think that concepts and thoughts can do exist, and they certainly aren't made of atoms, or I don't know enough to say that they aren't. So in that sense, I might be an emergent materialist that says that non-material things such as concepts can exist, but they're embodied or they're encased by that which is physical. In other words, the mind and consciousness emanates from our physical brains. So I might say that there are two types of stuff. There are thoughts, things that are conceptual, and then things that are physical. But I mean, we've just discovered for the longest time scientists thought that the universe was made of atoms, and now they're going to have to change the textbooks because there's this stuff called dark matter that isn't made of atoms.
Right.
So I don't know.
All right, so it's very clear that we can accept some things that aren't material and that are actually invisible, and we can't prove them with the scientific method, but we can justify them using reason and logic, which is what I've done tonight with the existence of God. My fourth and last question is referring to Richard Dawkins' book, The God Delusion. he makes just, I mean, he just gets really, I mean, almost to the point of just being rude and just hateful and bitter against Christians as he describes Christians and religions. And there's kind of this wave among the so-called new atheists, and they've kind of stated that their main hope is that religion would be so strongly condemned, ridiculed, and formally privatized that it becomes weakened or marginalized. My question to you is, do you agree with like those statements about Dawkins that, you know, religious people are basically the scum of the earth, and if you had your way, would you just kind of eradicate religion, and would you make Christians disappear if you could?
I believe that you're making a bit of a straw man, because I don't think that he said that they're the scum of the earth, and no, I would not make Christians or anyone go away if I could. You have the right to your belief, and I respect that. I don't respect your actual beliefs, and I think that you should note the difference between respecting people's beliefs and their right. I don't respect racism, but I respect people's rights to believe bigoted, ignorant nonsense.
But he doesn't respect racism, but he does respect the racists, is what he just said.
No, I respect their right to believe what they want without me using force against them. I will try to persuade them with reason and try to educate them, because I think that you don't defeat ignorance through censorship or through force. So I don't think I can defeat Christians through censorship or through force. I think you defeat ignorance with education.
So do you respect Christians?
I respect Christians' right to what they believe. I do not have an iota of respect for the notion that I must telepathically submit to your celestial king, or else I'll fry in a lake of sulfur, because I couldn't bring myself to believe, or that I could not bring myself to admire something that I find to be fundamentally immoral. And yes, I do think it should be treated with ridicule and contempt, and I claim that right.